All right, and we are back with another episode of Midtown Spotlight. My name is Natalie Graham, and on today's show, we have John Gould. John is from Toronto, and he lives in Leaside with his family. His office and warehouse are also located in Leaside, where he owns and operates a Canadian-made baby shoe brand, Little Grapefruit, which is the cutest name. John noticed a lack of options available for baby shoes when purchasing gifts for friends and family. So he used his knowledge and expertise from his first shoe brand creation, Rum and Grapefruit, to create Little Grapefruit. And I'm so excited to have you on today and to share your story. So welcome,
thank you
John.
for having me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward.
How are you doing today?
Very well, thanks. Very well. I'm not a big fan of the winter coming up, but other than that, I'm having a great day. Thank you very much.
Oh, I can completely relate to that. I'm not looking forward to this snow that they keep saying is coming to Toronto soon.
Well, yeah, exactly. I know this fall seemed far too short. So did the summer. It all sort of flew by too quickly.
I know, like where did the year go? It's already holiday season. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, John, I'll have you kick us off by telling us a little bit about Little Grapefruit and the products that you offer.
Sure. Little Grapefruit is we make handmade baby shoes in a variety of colors. Everything we make is actually handmade here in our factory that I'm sitting in. The factory part, this is my office, but the factory part is 10 feet away. We use all local sewers, local suppliers for our fabrics, local materials, and we offer them in 5 different sizes from 0 to 18 months. We've got some things built into our shoes with elastics designed to help them stay on their feet, which for parents out there, including myself, is always a big problem coming home with one sock or one shoe. We have a faux suede lining, so they're super soft, and we use only high quality fabric. So when we started this business, we figured we'll focus on one thing, just baby shoes, and we'll do that thing really well.
Wow, that's awesome. And the thing that, I mean, there's so many parts about what you just said that stand out. The first thing is that everything is made in Canada. That's amazing. Did you find that difficult when you first started your business? Was that hard to find everything you needed so locally?
Well, as you had mentioned before, my first entrance into the shoe business was a prior company, an adult shoe company, where we made sort of velvet smoking slippers, loafers for men and women. So I already had an entrance into that with local sewers. But it certainly is a challenge from a cost perspective. But the one thing that certainly during COVID, this business started, we pivoted to the baby shoes right before COVID. And we found that it was a huge advantage having everything made here in Canada, because everybody who was ordering from overseas were having huge supply chain issues. So having local sewers and all of our fabric suppliers local became a huge benefit. And it was really important to me that everything be made here in Canada. And I think also during COVID, there was a huge shift towards having locally made, handmade stuff from here in Canada. So it was to our benefit. And it's also easy because a lot of my suppliers are 10 minutes away. I don't have to wait on orders. I can just go pick it up.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. I mean, good for you. Like, that's fantastic. I feel like it's also really rare. I feel like I've been trying to support, local businesses as much as I can. And it's hard to find a lot of products that are made so locally. So that's awesome. And, I've got to ask, because it's just so cute, where did the name Little Grapefruit come from?
Well, again, as I had mentioned, you had mentioned, the previous shoe company I had was a company called Rum and Grapefruit. So when I started that, I wanted to come up with without using my own personal name or something like that, something that was sort of family oriented. And Rum and Grapefruit has been a long-standing family drink for my father and his brothers. And so I thought that would be kind of fun. And then when we pivoted to baby shoes, I didn't think that moms and dads would really like an alcohol associated with their baby shoes. So so we were playing with some names. Little Grapefruit came up. And then we also realized that when during pregnancy, they give you all the different measurements, like your baby's as big as an avocado. One of those sizes is actually a grapefruit. So we decided then and there that that might be a fun name. And we get a lot of great feedback on it. So
Yeah, I mean, and it sticks. When I found out about your store and your business, you can't forget it after that. And now I just want to call any cute baby a little grapefruit.
Yeah, well, thank you. We've it's worked out well for us.
Yeah, for sure. And is that also your branding on your hat there? Is that the
It is,
grapefruit?
yes. Yeah, I wasn't sure to go hat or no hat, but my hair was having a bit of a wild day, so I figured I'd throw it on.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's awesome. I really like it. I got to get myself one of those.
Right.
So,
Merch.
so I know this is your second business venture in shoes. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, the first one, I was actually in real estate development for about 8 years, but I had a creative itch that I wanted to scratch. So I left in my early 30s that job to pursue something creative. Also, right out of high school, I had the opportunity to work in Hong Kong for a toy company. So I got to see a lot of hands-on manufacturing and sort of where I fell in love with the idea of manufacturing. But I wanted it to be here in Canada. So I actually took, I've always had a passion for shoes. So I was like, maybe this is something where I can put my love for shoes and creativity together. And I actually took a cobbling course from a girl here in Toronto for a couple months to learn how to hand cobble shoes. So a lot of the first samples I made by hand myself, which was a lot of fun. I'm a pretty hands-on person. So I wanted to know from start to finish how a shoe was actually made, as opposed to just passing that off to somebody else. And then the business was sort of born. So we did custom embroidery on velvet shoes. We did a lot of weddings and bridesmaids, groomsmen. We made some for businesses, sort of one-off, but usually for wedding occasions. And so when COVID came around, we sort of had to pivot because weddings went away, and we did all custom fittings. We did custom patterns for people. We made pairs out of people's old clothing. We made a pair out of a woman's late father's old blazer. So it was pretty custom and a lot of fun. But when COVID came, the ability to have people come in and do custom fittings and the wedding business sort of took a nosedive. So we had to pivot at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so interesting. I always wonder when people are in these very specific fields of work, how did you find out that you could be good at this? How did you, actually go about it? Because that's a really big career change, right? From like real estate into into
Yes.
shoemaking. Yeah.
Yes, it
And
was certainly a bit of a shock for a lot of people, a lot of friends and family that were sort of like, "You're going to do what now?" But it was certainly at first, I wouldn't say it was a fun experience, but it's certainly a learning experience to start, and one that I've enjoyed all along the way.
yeah. Absolutely. So that leads me into my next question, actually, because I'm curious to know what is something that you've learned since being in this field of work? What's something that you've learned and you've really taken with you and you apply to most things that you do now? Something that it can be anything, like a lesson you've learned, or it could be something with one of your clients, or really anything. Does something stick out where you're like, I'm so happy that I learned that one thing?
I think from the terms of a small business owner, one thing, and that I've been fortunate, I've been on the bad end of it and been very fortunate that having people that work around you that you can trust, that you respect a lot, because as a small, it's very, very important. I've been on the wrong end of that, things working with people. As a small business owner, you contract out a lot because you're looking to save on expenses. And I've had situations where that hasn't worked out. But the core group here at Little Grapefruit is a very small team. I have my local sewers and I have my assistant. We also just hired on a wholesale consultant. But my assistant, one of my sewers, has been with me since the very beginning. So the first shoes, she's Linda. So she's basically like family. And then my assistant, Christy, has been with me since just before COVID. And I wear a lot of hats. You do as a small business owner, because and so when I'm out of the office, it's important to have somebody that you can trust, that can hold down the fort when you're not there. And I've been very fortunate that I have both Linda and Christy on my team that are reliable and that I can trust. And so applying that to life, that I've found that if you give people the proper respect and treat them well, you get that back in spades. And so that's really, really important, I think, for a small business. It's also very lonely as a small business owner, because it's usually just you and one other people. So having that sort of trust and kinship with each other is important to keep your sanity.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's like a second family, right? And, especially when you were starting things up, I'm sure you spent more time at the office or warehouse than you did at home, right? So that's so important that you trust and you love who you work with.
For sure. Yes, I've been very, very fortunate that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was taking a look on your website because your products are just adorable. I have two favorites. The cherry velvet is just, it's so cute. And the shearling. These are my current favorites because I feel like they're very cozy and festive as well, because the red and the fuzzy material. And I wanted to ask you, what inspires you when you're making new designs and bringing in new materials? What are you thinking about when you're creating these products?
That's a good question. I think when I first started, because I had the other business, we were doing a lot of velvet loafers. And so my first intro to baby shoes was actually making samples. When in your introduction there, when I said that I couldn't really find a lot of options, is basically because I was buying baby shower gifts. So I would go and buy shoes, and I saw a lot of the same stuff. So the first samples I ever made were made from fabric that I was originally using for rum and grapefruit. And then also found that, there was a lot of leather baby shoes out there, or faux leather baby shoes, but nothing in really soft, like a velvet fabric. So right off the bat, I wanted to choose high quality materials that are extremely durable, because these babies are crawling around and moving and putting stuff in their mouth. And so we were first and foremost looking for high quality. In terms of like the colors and patterns, it's hard to really say what inspires me there, because I used to walk along Queen Street and I would go fabric shopping for a lot of this stuff. And what I found, and if you look at our website, we have over 70 SKUs. Pretty much everything looks cute as a baby shoe. You could basically take any pattern or color and turn it into a baby shoe, and it would look adorable. So we've really focused in on high quality materials. And then, sort of like fashion, we have to sort of change our colors and fabrics with what's in season and what the hot colors of the summer or the winter are. So a lot of our and then all of our shoes also have red leather soles. So we wanted to stand out. Also, when babies are in their strollers, all you can see is the bottom of their feet. And because we are a Canadian company, we went with the red leather. A lot of people sort of associate it with the very high-end shoe brand. I won't mention it in case I'm not allowed to, but so it's got a high fashion appeal, but the background behind it was we wanted something with a pop of color that sort of represented Canada as well.
It really catches your eye. Like instantly, my first thought is like, do these come in my size?
We do. And so, when people ask that, I would often steer them, oh, I do have another company, Rum and Grapefruit. We can, and
Yeah.
then we often found people were like, no, we don't want loafers. We just want bigger versions of these for slippers. So believe it or not, we're looking into that because, certainly in the parent world, like with pajamas and things like that, having the full family wearing the same outfit or the same shoe is on trend right now. So we're looking into that. If so, we'll keep in touch and I'll let you know.
Yeah, now you have my phone number, you have my email. I'm expecting an update when this becomes available.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, luxury loungewear, it's a thing. Even I know it kind of blew up during COVID, but it stayed in trend. A lot of people still work from home and, want to look chic and put together while at home, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fashion and comfort. So,
Mhm.
okay, I have a personal question for you, but it can be
Sure.
about you or your business. What's something that, our listeners would be surprised to know about you?
Hmm. Another good question. Well, it could be, you could take this as both personal and work related, but as I mentioned with sort of hand making the first pairs, like I really do enjoy sewing and so the business I'm in lends itself to creativity there. For the trade shows, I build all the displays by hand. So I really do like to work with my hands. I don't know if that's not personal enough of an answer for
Yeah,
you.
no, it's
And
good.
certainly lots of my friends would know that already about me, but I do from a quality control perspective, which is why I liked learning about shoes from the ground up. I really, if something's wrong, I've got the machines to fix it here at the shop myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's great when you know every step of the process yourself and you can do it if you want to do it, or you at least know how it all works and how the pieces fit together. And that is a really fun fact because I think most people wouldn't know that about you. They would just assume that you either buy all the products or you don't know how to do any of that. You just sell the products. So I think that is really cool. And I personally find your story actually just so inspiring because, you completely switched careers. You took that leap of faith and you jumped into something totally different. So if you could share a tip with anyone that's maybe itching to do the same, like they want to change for their life and they want to do something different, or maybe they're really creative like you are, any tips for those people out there?
For sure. I think the first one would be, which you kind of as a small business have to get used to, is don't be afraid to make mistakes and don't be afraid to learn. I basically knew nothing about e-commerce, retail, or the manufacturing of shoes. So I had the advantage of not always going into a room knowing that I'm not the smartest guy or the most knowledgeable. And that was really helpful because when you don't come off like that, uh, people are even more willing to teach you everything that they know about certain things. So having an open mind and wanting to learn and not being afraid to ask questions is important. I'd mentioned, having a team around you that you can trust and respect. I think that's crucial. And then, as you mentioned, don't be afraid to pivot. COVID was a once in a lifetime sort of, hopefully once in a lifetime situation where it sort of forced us to. But I think sometimes if you hold on to, like Little Grapefruit takes up 99% of my time and Rum and Grapefruit takes up a small percentage, but I'm sort of happy that it happened because it's made life really fun. Both my daughters have quite a shoe collection, so yeah, not holding on too tight and being flexible to pivot if the market needs it or if you feel like your business needs it personally. Then those would be three things that I would say are important.
Yeah, those are really great tips. And I think that it's good to hear them not only when you're thinking about making that change, but also when you're in the thick of it. Sometimes you need those friendly reminders. Like it's okay to not know everything. Or even when I first got into real estate, I knew everything in my job before real estate. So I kind of went in being like, totally scared to get things wrong. But then you realize it's actually really good to get it wrong and to be turned down because you learn from it and you get stronger from it, right? So, yeah, it
Absolutely.
applies to all industries, I think, when you're making a change. It's very humbling for sure.
It
Um,
certainly is. Yeah.
but yeah, absolutely. But okay, so what's coming up next for Little Grapefruit?
Well, coming up this weekend, we've actually got the One of a Kind show here in Toronto down at the Enercare Center. So we'll be there for all 11 days. Done it a couple times and we really enjoy going. And I really enjoy the experience because get real-time customer feedback. We get a lot of people that come to the show because they know we're going to be there, repeat buyers. So that's exciting for us. And I'm a people person. So other than the long days, it's a lot of fun to be there. And then coming 2024, you had mentioned the shearlings that you really like. We actually added 7 other shearling colors, which aren't on the website yet, and some new leathers. And then 2024, moving into spring, we'll have a whole new variety of patterns and colors and fabrics. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, so a lot coming up then. You'll be busy.
Well, I will be busy. Yeah,
Yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
But looking forward to it.
Yeah, oh, that's great. And last question, time really flew. I'm like, what? Looking at the clock, how is that how is that the time? So last question I've got for you here, if anyone watching or listening wants to connect with you and find your products, where can they find you?
You can find us mainly on our website, which would be littlegrapefruit.com. You can also visit us on Instagram at littlegrapefruits. And on our website, you can connect, with our team, which is myself and my assistant at littlehelp@littlegrapefruits.com. And you can also through the website find yourself to me if you want to contact me directly.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, John. Well, thank you so much for the shoe talk.
Of
This will
course.
definitely be the most fun conversation of my day, probably my week. So I appreciate you. And I know that all of our listeners have definitely enjoyed hearing your story and just everything that you've shared. So I'm so excited for us to share this and get it out there. I've been chatting once again with John here from Little Grapefruit. I'm Natalie Graham, your Keller Williams Leaside Realtor and Park Bench local leader. Stay tuned for our next episode of Midtown Spotlight to hear stories from other community leaders. All right, everyone, see you soon. Thanks, John.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Natalie.